Hey mamas, have you ever found yourself saying things like, gosh, my kids just seem like really picky eaters? Or maybe you said, I just want to be healthy and I'm so sick of dieting. Maybe you've even found yourself thinking, I wonder if my kids are picking up my thoughts and my habits about food. If you found yourself saying any of these things, I have something amazing to share with you. Mom First group coaching enrollment has opened. Yes, if you're listening to this January 2021, enrollment is open. In this 4-month group coaching program, you are going to receive not only my best coaching for intuitive eating, but also I'm going to help you as you're raising intuitive eaters. Don't worry, if your kids are toddlers or teenagers or anything in between, this program is for you. All the details can be found below in the show notes, including a link to book a consult so you can get enrolled today. I am only taking 10 moms into this group, so don't miss your spot. Well, Happy New Year, ladies. Here we are, the first episode of 2021. Yep. It is episode 69. I don't even want to delay. Let's just jump in right now.
Welcome to the Health, Life, and More for Women podcast with certified life coach, mom of 4, and just all-around lover of all things 80s, your host, Jennifer D'Amato. Buckle in. Let's get started.
So I'm in my closet, as you know. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know that's where I record for you all. And I have a hot cup of coffee in my hands as I'm speaking because this is the coldest space in my entire house. All external walls for the most part and just freaking cold. So I am bundled up, hot coffee, and sitting here. And what I really think is interesting is I wanted to come on here and talk about the word of the year I have, share some things with you. And I'm looking at my mug and it's amazing how my word of the year, it goes along with this mug. So I posted this just recently. My coach that I hired bought this mug for me. It says wife, mom, boss. I mean, yes, I'm all three. And I love the order. I love the order of it. I love just how it's set, that my relationship with my husband is right at the top. I always tell mamas that I work with, something comes up and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to reschedule, or, sorry, I was late for our call. And I'm like, we're moms first. Even the name of my group coaching program is called Mom First. Come on now. So good. And then boss is the last piece on here. Yes, I am a boss. I do run my own business. What's amazing is that my word for 2021, and it came to me that this was the word. I did fight it. If you didn't listen to my episode about word of the year, I didn't have one when I recorded that. It really was something, again, I just fought because the word aligned, being aligned, I just felt like there should be something more profound. And yet the word aligned is already extremely impactful in my life. And what's interesting is I'm looking at this mug and I think about the word aligned. And it's not just aligned in one area of my life. I want every area of my life to be completely aligned. Wife, mom, boss. I'm talking everything I do, whether it's volunteering or something in my business, being here on the podcast, conversations with my husband, children, friends, everything aligned. I value authenticity. It's something that, I always tell people, like, what you see is what you get. I mean, what you hear on here, this is me. Any of my friends who listen to this podcast are like, yeah, that's Jen. This is just who I am. And I believe that this word aligned really just draws out my most authentic self. And aligns, it lines up everything. All right, let me take a quick sip of coffee. It's a really bold move to make a change to a business that's already running really smoothly, bringing in clients and doing well. But I knew it wasn't aligned. It wasn't aligned with what I believe I'm called to coach. It wasn't aligned with what I believe I'm called to do. I actually also resigned a position at the end of the year. So I was a contract coach for another company. And again, it wasn't about the clients. The clients, I freaking love the clients. But the work was not aligning with me. Again, another very big, bold move. So if you listen to the last episode that I shared, episode 68, my Enneagram coach, Hillary McCaskey, asked me questions about being a type 3. And one of the key things about my personality type is we don't like to fail. I mean, most people would probably say, yeah, Jen, I'm not a type 3, or I don't know anything about the Enneagram, but I don't like to fail either. It is like an overwhelming sense, though, for me. Now, my younger self, would avoid failure like the plague. I mean, anything and everything I could do to not fail, I would do or not do. Whatever it was going to take. Sometimes that even meant not taking the risk, because if I didn't take the risk, I didn't have to worry about failure. If I didn't step into that space where the possibility of failure could even present itself, I didn't have to worry about failure. It wasn't until I started being coached that I welcomed failure. I knew at the end of 2020, I was taking a very big risk. I knew that by leaving a contract position, that by really completely shifting my coaching, I could completely fail. My income could change. Things could just flop and I would just be left feeling like I'm a failure. See, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have stepped out in there. Fail. However, that's not the case. And I actually believe that's not the case because of this one single word. And this is why I knew I had to stop fighting this word and let it be present for 2021. Being completely aligned in all areas of life isn't a risk. It's actually more authentic than anything else I've ever done. I am willing to give up things that don't align with who I am, what I believe, where I stand, than to have something that I constantly struggle with. Even if it's, was already having success, I had to let that go to be completely aligned. Like I said, this is beyond my business. This is completely beyond just coaching. It's right here on this podcast, making sure that I feel completely aligned with the podcast guests that I choose. I'm presented with things all the time in my inbox. People contacting me. I've actually done some pre-interviews and had to say, no, thank you. And it's not because I don't want to bring you all, amazing other women to hear from, but if they don't align, I have to say no. And I feel so good that you will know exactly what you're going to get from me whenever you're listening. Of course, I'm seeing this in my personal life as well. I'm seeing this in areas where I volunteer, where I give my time, how I'm spending my time. This one word is for everything. Wife, mom, boss. I want it all to be fully aligned. What's so amazing is my coach bought me this having no idea about this word or how this would impact me. This one simple mug, these 3 simple words, being so aligned. I love it. Now, if you've never done a word for the year, and maybe you listened to that episode, but time has passed, it's okay. What's the word coming up for you? What is something you want to end the year feeling like that was me? That's exactly what I needed. And it doesn't have to necessarily show up in every area. Maybe you just need a word for you personally. Actually, I have a friend who likes to have a word for her personal life and a word for her business. That's okay too. But I just want to encourage you that if you kind of skirted over that, if you just kind of moved on, it's not too late. What would be the best word? The word that actually gives you maybe a physical reaction like it did me. I'm telling you, I knew I was going to fight it. And I wrote down like 5 other words and laughed at myself, knowing the whole reason I was doing that was to fight this one word. Because I knew that this word meant giving up things that no longer fit. Now, even if your word for the year is not aligned, having everything be fully aligned in your life or your work or business, whatever that is, I would like you just to think on that word for a moment. What does it mean if we live our lives fully aligned? That everything we do, every choice we make, every decision we're faced with, whether it's for ourselves, for our parenting, for work, for career, whatever that is, that you feel everything is fully aligned. Is your life already that way? Are you already fully aligned? Because if not, you're going to experience things like, I'm compromising who I am, or I'm giving up what I believe is right here. You might even feel like I'm just avoiding failure, maybe like I was. It's not fully aligned, but it's because I'm afraid I'm going to fail, so I don't go there. Living a fully aligned life is not necessarily an easy one. However, I put my head on that pillow at night, and what a difference when you feel that every area of your life is fully aligned, or you're headed that way, right? Like you've made those decisions so that all of that feels aligned. It honestly is this immense sense of peace. I brought it to my mastermind group when I was going to leave this contract position, which has brought me a lot of money, introduced me to some of the most amazing human beings I've ever met, which just for the time I was there was just an immense blessing. Like I felt just lit up, like I love coaching. I just freaking love coaching. So once I gave my notice and actually left, they've been kind of checking in with me and, how are you feeling since, having left that contract coaching position? And honestly, I have felt nothing but peace. I mean, I'm sad because I miss the clients. I miss holding space for them and guiding them and helping them get where they need to be, uncovering things with them, like that part, because the clients are everything to me. But peace, complete peace, knowing that was the right decision. It wasn't easy. I had that, fear of failure. That thought came in. I don't quit anything. I had to reframe even the idea of quitting, that I wasn't quitting. What I was doing was being completely aligned in every area of life. That reframe gave me nothing but peace. And I still, right now, it's been at least a solid month since I gave my notice and left that position. I feel at peace. I really do. It doesn't mean when we make those choices, it's going to always feel easy. It doesn't mean that there might not even be consequences, right? There might be, I'm not saying all negative, but there's always going to be some consequence whenever we make a choice. But if I can feel peace at the end of the day and fully aligned, that's my goal. I am authentic. I am fully aligned, and I experience peace. What a way to start a new year. I mean, we all know, if we've learned anything from 2020, there's no way to predict what's going to happen in a year, where we're going to be, decisions being made that we don't have any say in. But having something to focus on. I shared in my episode about my word for 2020, which came to me, as you know, in 2019, was victorious. Victorious. It's ridiculous to think of that. It actually makes me laugh because I had no idea all the things that were going to happen in 2020 on the external, with the world stuff happening, but also my health, what happened with my breast health and having surgery. And no way I knew that. Now that gets me excited because if this word aligned has come in, something's coming. I fully anticipate it. I look forward to it. Like, bring it on. I must need this word for something. Maybe you already have a word for 2021. So this could just be a great exercise in reflection. A great exercise in yourself feeling aligned. It could just be the solidification you needed in your own word that, feels like a stretch, feels uncomfortable, who knows what's going to happen, but hanging on to that word. I know after coming off a year like 2020, it can feel like a struggle to get excited about a new year. But I'm here to encourage you, to inspire you for another year on this podcast. I'm here to hopefully bring you a piece of hope, maybe some humor, even if it's just me laughing at myself, some words of wisdom, a place where you can just feel like, hey, you know what? I'm not the only one who thinks that way, feels that way, goes through this. I do have a list of podcast guests coming up for 2021 that I do feel completely align with what I want to present here on the Health, Life, and More for Women podcast. No matter what this year brings, I hope that the word that has been presented to you serves you so well. All right, ladies, until next week.